everyone, this is Rita Choi from Asia HRM. Today we are very glad that Mr. Shivam Mishra has accepted our invite. Mr. Shivam is a very successful HR professional with a demonstrated successful history of human resources, business partnering, and change management. Currently, he is the integrated talent manager for South Asia at Nestle India. Hi, Mr. Shiram. What was your best experience as a human resources business partner?
Hey Rita, and thank you so much for this opportunity to interact with the HR community. This is a very interesting question, and in fact, it is very difficult to pick one experience. I think throughout I've worked with different teams across factories. I've worked with sales teams. I've worked with our business in Myanmar where we met, and I got introduced to this fantastic community. And I think there are many stories. It's very difficult to pick one, but if I have to pick one, possibly I'll pick my first experience as a HR professional when I was still very young. I didn't know a lot about HR, so I had studied HR for a couple of years, but I did not have any practical experience. And I think that first experience where I worked as a HR business partner to a factory, I think it taught me a lot. And some of the basics that I learned during that time, they still stay with me today. Some of the mentors that I actually got during that time, learnings from them still stay with me today. And I think that played a big part in sculpting who I am today as a HR professional. And if I have to go back there, it's now more than 8 years ago. If I go back and my first role as a factory HR business partner, and I'm not really sure what exactly I'm supposed to do, and I joined this factory, and I faced with a lot of challenges. I think one of the biggest challenge there was that we had to work in terms of bringing in the change to be much more compliant to the local regulations that were there. And I think for me as a young HR professional, compliance is something that we are taught that as HR professional, it's going to be a key area for us. What I did learn though, that it's not so straightforward that, okay, you just understand what are the regulations and go and implement it. Change management is actually at the core of anything that we do with relation to compliance. And I think that's where I learned about how people matter when you actually go to drive a change, how it matters that you actually understand why people are behaving in a certain manner. And that's where all these other aspects of human resources, whether it's org behavior, whether it is team dynamics, all those come into play to actually tell you that, okay, how you are going to drive change, what are going to be the barriers to change, and how are you going to overcome it. So those were some of the experiences I, as a very fresh professional, actually went into with that challenge. That, okay, I have to drive this change, and I think I went through all those very popular 8 stages of change management that Kotter has. So you create the sense of urgency, you understand, okay, what is happening, and then how do you go through that. And in fact, I think those 2 years, they instilled some of they were at the beginning of what I have learned as my own change management model as a HR professional. So I think what I learned there is that when you're going to drive a change, the first thing that you need to understand is to understand what exactly is the problem there, why are stakeholders behaving in a certain manner, and then what you are actually going to do to drive the right behaviors. Creating the visibility among these for all the stakeholders is very important. And once you do that and everybody is aligned towards what exactly is the vision, then you need to start enabling that change so that you create the right systems, right processes, so that people go towards that. And then once you have a certain level of compliance with that change, you will actually go towards rewarding people for people who are actually driving the change, so that you get certain change champions. And then possibly comes the last part, possibly the hardest part, that you will still have certain set of people who are facing certain challenges or who do not want to be part of the change. So how do you manage them, the last set of detractors? And I think the key to that is to do the job before very strongly. So if you have actually managed to convert, let's say 90-95% of your people towards the change, then you can handle the 5% detractors. And what I learned is that if you are facing 50% detractors to your change, there is possibly something wrong with what you are trying to do. we have possibly not thought something too. So if there is a lot of detractors to the change, possibly it's again time to go back and understand why that is happening. And I think that role again was very very important. And again, what I learned is the importance of being coachable. I think as a young HR professional, I had no experience. I had very less idea about how things actually work. But then, because I think I was coachable, I was somebody who would actually reflect on, who would listen to informal mentors, who would try to learn from others experiences if I don't have my experience at all. That helped me a lot being successful in that kind of a scenario. So I think that is the memory that I cherish the most, and that paved way for a lot of different stories that came throughout life. I think from there, learning about agile, how to be agile as an HR, learning about how to collaborate in a corporate environment, how to work with different kind of business teams, how to handle constructive conflict. But I think all of that started with that first role where I was very, very fresh.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Shiram. From your story, we know that as an HR, we need to be coachable, we need to be agile, and also people matters, especially to change management. And also thanks for going through the process when we need to make changes. Thanks again, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you
bye-bye.
so much, Vita.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Shiram. I agree with you that as a young HR, they need to be coachable, and also people matters, especially to change management. And also thanks for going through the process when we need to make changes. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you
bye-bye.
so much.